Hi, United in Recovery family. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about an issue that keeps a lot of us from experiencing peace, that keeps a lot of us in anxiety, that keeps a lot of us from experiencing sobriety. And that's the issue of overthinking. Those of us in recovery, and really those of us who are humans, which hopefully is all of us watching this video, apologize to those who are watching with your dogs and cats. But we have this problem with overthinking, okay? Like we'll think something to death and we'll think about it so much that we never act on what we need to do. And let me just talk a little bit about how this works, and then I'm going to talk some about how recovery has a cure for this issue. But this is a big issue that affects us. Here's how it might go. You know you're getting isolated, right? You know you're becoming inward and cynical and grumpy, right? You see all that happening. And so you decide, instead of, hey, I need to go to a group or I need to hang out with some other people who can help me not be isolated, we decide, you know what? Since I'm feeling this way and since I'm seeing these problems in myself, I should probably stay home. I'm not ready to be around other people. I should probably stay home and think about how I got this way. But guess what? You got that way by staying home and just thinking and not being out around other people, right? So what do you think is going to happen? And a lot of times, staying at home and just thinking yourself, it's just going to put you more and more in that mindset where you're wrestling around and you never get anywhere, and eventually you get sick of never getting anywhere, and eventually you start doing something that you wish you hadn't done, right? This also happens in some folks who kind of overthink whether we have an issue with substances or not. So here's how that might look. I've had people say, I'm not sure if I'm an alcoholic or not. Now that's okay thing to say, but here's what they say. So they go, so I decided to go drink to find out. I decided, since I wasn't sure if I was an alcoholic or not, I'd keep drinking so I could figure it out. Because I figured if I kept drinking and then I could stop when I wanted to, I wouldn't be. So here's the deal. If you've ever said, so I wasn't sure if I was an alcoholic or not, probably a pretty good chance you're an alcoholic. And especially if you've ever decided in that situation to go drink. Because let me tell you how someone who was not an alcoholic would handle that. If they got to the point where they were saying, I'm not sure, they'd just quit. And they wouldn't necessarily need a ton of help. They'd just be like, you know what? I don't like everything this is doing to me. I'm just going to stop. And they'd just stop. But if you've ever said that and then decided to keep drinking, then chances are you're probably an alcoholic. I had a friend, and she said the other day, she said, I'd just been, and I think this was some months ago, she said, I found out during the pandemic I was just drinking more than usual, and I went from drinking socially once a week, twice a month, maybe, to like just about every day to kind of give myself a reward at the end of the day and help myself relax. And she goes, I finally just decided I don't like what this is doing to me. I don't like the fact I feel like I need this every day. I don't like the fact that now I have to worry, long term, if I did this, would it be hard on my liver to have a couple drinks a day? And so she just stopped. Guess how much trouble she had stopping? 0. Guess whether she needed a sponsor or not? Nope, didn't need a sponsor. Guess what? She wasn't an alcoholic. Now, had she continued down that path longer, she might have become one. But she wasn't, so she was just able to quit. But sometimes we just overthink stuff, right? And it leads us right where we don't need to be. So here is the recovery solution, the cure for overthinking. It's this: do the next right thing, right? You've probably heard that phrase 100 times before. I think we need it right now. A lot of uncertainty right now about the future. We're coming out of the pandemic. How's everything going to look? How's it going to function? It'll be kind of like it was before. Won't be completely like it was before. I have people sometimes who come to me through the church and they're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out God's will for my life. That's a big question, man. And sometimes there are moments where God kind of lets us see a little ways down the road. But let me tell you, I can guarantee you 110%. I know exactly what God's will for your life is. God's will for your life is for you to do the next right thing. Now, I can't tell you what God's will is 5 years from now. Maybe God will miraculously reveal that to you. But I can tell you 110% certainty, God's will for your life is to do the next right thing. Let me tell you how this works. I want you to think about Psalm 119, 105, one of my favorite verses of Scripture. It says, "Your word, O Lord, is a lamp unto my feet and a light to my path," right? Now, does it say, "Your word, O Lord, is a runway lit up miles into the distance"? No. Does it say, "Your word, O Lord, is a stadium that makes it bright as daytime in the middle of the night"? No, not that either. It says it's a lamp to your feet, a flashlight on your path. You ever been in the woods with a flashlight when it's dark? You know, it doesn't show you that much. Here's what it shows you. It shows you just enough so that when you put that next foot down, you're putting it down in a safe spot. And then as you get a little further down the path, it'll show you enough to do that again. That's how God works in us. That's why we call it trust. That's why it's faith, right? And that's how it is in recovery. Our recovery journeys, like, they're not all the same, right? There are some things about them that are predictable, and sometimes we're going through our recovery journey and we have to deal with something that we totally didn't see coming. But here's the promise. If you do the next right thing, you'll get through it. So all I want you to think about right now, I don't want you to think about a year from now. I don't want you to think about, a month from now. I just want you to think about right now, tonight, what's the next right thing that you need to do? And how can you do it? And if we live in that moment of thinking about the next right thing, it's going to prevent us from overthinking and getting ourselves in a bad place by making life too complicated. You know, when people ask Jesus the meaning of life, he didn't get real complicated with them. He said, love God, love your neighbor. If there's something in your life that's keeping you from loving God, keeping you from loving your neighbor, keeping you from loving yourself, it needs to stop. If there's a way that in your life that you'd have the opportunity to love God, love your neighbor, love yourself, you need to do that. That's the next right thing. Hey, sometimes loving yourself is just going to bed early and getting enough sleep at night. I heard one guy recently say that half of faith was just going to bed by 10 o'clock. I think there may be something to that for those of us who are kind of grouchy without enough sleep. What's the next right thing you need to do? Is it getting back in community? Is it getting enough sleep? Is it admitting you do have a problem and it's time to put the bottle down? Is it acknowledging that your general way of relating to people has become manipulative and it's time to learn a new way? Whatever it might be. Maybe it's just time to apologize to some people that you've gotten sideways with. Maybe some people that live in your house, and say, hey, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna work on me again. Whatever it is, let's commit ourselves tonight to do the next right thing. And then I think we won't have to worry about 5 years from now, because 5 years from now will take care of itself. But in recovery, we're given a daily reprieve based on our spiritual maintenance. And that spiritual maintenance is all about doing the next right thing. God bless you. I hope you have a great evening. Hope you're able to be a part of one of the open share groups tonight. If you're not, we're now here every Monday night. We're in room 293, 296 on the west side of the building. Any of us would be happy to just holler at us through our website. We'll tell you exactly how to get here. We'd love to see you in person. God bless you. Bye-bye.